the speed, the next 2-3 days, bring an amendment, subject it to public participation. In the next 1 month, the whole thing is harmonized. Okay. This will, I believe, will actually come to an end.
Let's transition to the other topic, which is you'll find it quite heavily covered on the front page of the Daily Nation and the stories inside about the admission by authorities that rogue hospitals tried to steal 10 billion shillings from the Social Health Authority. That's the figure that has been so far declared by the Cabinet Secretary for Health, that is Aden Duale. Hear what the President has been saying in regards to that controversy.
Leseni ya mahospitali 1000 ambao wanafuja pesa ya mambo ya afya. Na hatuondoi leseni peke yake. Tutawafuata, watalipa hizo pesa na tutawapeleka kotini. Kwa sababu there is nothing as criminal as worse as stealing from the sick.
Nothing as criminal as stealing from the sick, the President says, but he had also been speaking early in the week, mid of last week, in regards to why we had to transition to the current system. Watch.
Ile wizi iliangusha NHIF mpaka kukuwa na madeni ya bilioni 30. Haiwezi kufanyika ndani ya SHA.
Right. So 30 billion shillings of debt by NHIF after existing for 60 years. I don't know how much debt SHA has for existing for about 10, 11 months. But let's begin with you, Mheshimiwa Mbuyi, on this one also. We appear to be getting piecemeal information. Every day is a new day of learning how deep this fraud is at SHA. What are you taking this for?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. First, just before I go there, I want to ask the executive to start respecting Parliament. This disrespect of the House has also been occasioned by the fact that the members themselves, and I'm a member of Parliament, have treated, the executive with kids' gloves. That's why we cannot even say the sanctions we can take against them. I would be on the front line of actually attempting to impeach that CS who decides to desecrate the House, because we must follow the rule of law. This country must follow the rule of law. We must respect the separation of powers by the different arms of government. So the executive cannot run roughshod over Parliament and we sit by. And when the CS comes here next, ask him how EGP is going to solve the issue of corruption, because corruption is not systems; it is people. How will the system be able to resolve the problem of corruption? But some on the issue of SHA. SHA is also another one, which is also a system that has failed us. A system costing 104 billion. And we were told that this is a flawless system, will not have problems. In the few months that it has been in operation, it has occasioned more loss of public funds than NHIF, which was pushed out unceremoniously, and in the same way that the e-procurement system is being brought very hurriedly, very rushed, and without much involvement of the general public. Now, if you look at Daily Nation, page 12, I've seen the Prime CS is arguing with a bishop. And I want to advise the Prime CS to be careful not to argue with bishops, because the bishop says that they've only received 9 million, and for St. Mary's Hospital through SHA, and the Prime CS is saying, no, we've given out 82 million. So that confirms that, yes, they did release 82 million, but it didn't reach St. Mary's Hospital. It disappeared somewhere along the way. That is where the problem is. There is money going into hospitals that don't exist. There is money that is, that is disappearing along the way. And the debts are also increasingly higher than they should have been, because has Kenya suddenly become a very sick nation that within the period of SHA being in existence, suddenly people are so sick that the cost of healthcare in the country has, it's not even it's more than tenfold. So I think there is a problem with this system, and something needs to be done.
Now, the Cabinet Secretary is the one who lifted the lead on, or did he? Or rather, he came to confirm what speculation had been. Listen to what he said last week on Monday.
In Mandera, 312 patients, we have the names of those patients, went through 8 facilities in one town in one day and making the claims to Social Health Authority. Nabwala Hospital in Bungoma falsified claims for multiple cesarean section on the same patient within days and supported maternity claims. In Kotiende Medical Center in Homa Bay, fabricated clinical documents with a single person signing off for both day and night shifts over consecutive days, which to us is humanly impossible.
Multiple CSs, same patient, different facilities. Mheshimiwa Mathenge, you sit at the Health Committee.
Yeah, yes.
Had you had wind about this issue, and what's the committee doing about it?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Yes, I sit in the Health Committee. And in fact, this week, beginning Tuesday, we are visiting hospitals to interact with the SHA system, right from the point the patient gets in up to when claims are lodged. Because we want to be able to get, information at that level. It is possible for a patient to walk to several hospitals. And I'll give you a classic example of Nyeri. Nyeri PGH, which is the premier referral facility, sometimes does not have CT scans functioning, does not have MRIs functioning. There are several facilities, including Madari Mission Hospital and Outspan, where you could go for the same. So if you go to this hospital, what you'll do is to compare prices, because there's a top-up once you miss services from one facility. And therefore, if in one day, a patient who needed an MRI, which is paid for by SHA, a patient who is paid up for SHA, gets a prescription from Nyeri PGH, they could decide to go to Madari, for example, and find there is a top-up of 3,000 shillings over and above the SHA rates, and decide, I may as well check with Outspan. At that point, is the patient logged in to be able to get in these services in facilities? And therefore, it is possible to get a footprint of a patient walking through several facilities in a day.
But
the question is whether a claim then is initiated by that facility for a service that is not rendered. In this whole issue, let us go back, for example, to NHIF and deaths. The punitive action under NHIF, when a facility made a fictitious or a fraudulent claim, was that NHIF would say they would recover that from future claims by the hospital. But how does that happen when a hospital has been suspended from transacting business with NHIF? Under the new law, number two, there was the accusation that for your health facility to be contracted by NHIF, you needed to maneuver your ways and possibly bribe. Under the new law, once a facility has been registered and licensed by KMPDC, that facility is eligible to be contracted by NHIF without any other step other than signing by SHA, without any other procedure other than signing the contract document. And therefore, there is the question then of who then takes responsibility for facilities that actually are non-existent on the ground, yet they are registered and licensed. KMPDC. And KMPDC, we are very suspicious. They had the hospital master register. When Kenyans started raising issues, why was that register removed? All the members of the public barred from accessing it. What is it that KMPDC is hiding?
When was it removed?
I think immediately after the release of the last payments, I think on the 14th or the 15th of this month, of last month, and Kenyans started interrogating, because in that register, the geolocations of facilities was included. And Kenyans started saying, I am at this place, nothing like this exists, because all I need to do is to feed my geolocations on my phone, and I can be able to go there. The next question...
No, before we get to the next question, tell me, how is it that SHA has non-existent hospitals? I mean, how is that process, and why would you even say that KMPDC has something to say about this?
Because according to the process, KMPDC, by law, by its mandate cap 253, has the responsibility on all healthcare institutions, public, private, and mission hospitals, dental clinics, dental centers, nursing hospitals, maternity homes, including standalone funeral hospitals. I mean, funeral homes. It's its responsibility to register and license. Once that licensing has been done, and the system, there is communication through the system, that then SHA, the first check by the system, are you registered and licensed by KMPDC? So you become eligible, and on the basis of that, then you can go and contract with SHA.
But isn't SHA required to do due diligence?
One of the weaknesses that we have had in the past is that claim that, you know, you're giving one body and giving it multiple roles. So take a specific mandate, assign it to one competent authority.
Because I'm looking at the SHA regulations. I do not see KMPDC anywhere. I'm looking at Regulation 32. The authority shall contract healthcare providers and health facilities under the Act in accordance with the provisions of Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act. It doesn't say in accordance with KMPDC recommendation.
Now, I will go back and ask, then these healthcare providers, what is the source of the database for the healthcare providers? Because it cannot hang somewhere in the air. It has to come from a source, preferably a source that then will be described as a competent authority. And that is why today, for example, you will find that in terms of the legality of existence of health facilities, the body to go and check with is KMPDC.
Okay. All right. Mheshimiwa Kenan, what do you make of this controversy? And when you hear both the Cabinet Secretary and the President promising action, the Social Health Authority, we've not even had them speak as eloquently as the CS and the President. Why? They're the ones who oversaw all this.
Sam, again, this is a familiar topic by the Kenyan public. You see, we have the CS, we have the management of SHA, we have the Kenyan public. I think there are a number of things that we are also trying to mix. If, for whatever reason, there's a fraudulent activity taking place either in a non-existent facility or existing facility, that is fraud. It shall be dealt with ruthlessly by the law enforcement agencies. And there shall be no politics about that. That is first. Secondly, do we need a seamless, working, effective healthcare system? That's what Kenyans have been yearning for. That any route that will give us that, I think should be appreciated and supported by the entire Kenyan public. In the past, you are also aware that there has been cartels within the NHIF. NHIF actually has been a bedrock of corruption and many other challenges. So what needs to be done right now is this system that we have proved in our mind ought to be corruption-free, ought to be people-friendly, and any attempt by cartels, whether new cartels, the old cartels, or people who are resisting actually change, must also be dealt with decisively. The only thing that we should avoid is political victimization. The only thing that we shall avoid is blame games. And there's no room.
Sorry, what is political victimization?
Political victimization is like, I saw a bit of exchange that this is a member is the cause of this. If there is evidence of involvement of any individual, regardless of the status, that individual must face the full force of law. But making a public statement, that is, in my opinion, that is public lynching. So what we need to do right now, in my mind, if I was part of the management of SHA or the leadership of Minister of Health or all the other groups, is if there is evidence, and criminal responsibility is individual, if there is evidence that clearly links particular facilities or individuals, whether it is within the oversight entity or the regulating agency or the mainstream SHA or the public, for God's sake, for the sake of this nation, we do not need rhetorics. Deal with those individuals decisively. The people of Elders require an efficient, working healthcare system. And we have known this over the years.
Right.
And therefore, what I'm trying to say is this. The papers have been awash with, rhetorics. That is not what we need. We need to see individuals that are arraigned in court. We need to see the fraud that's actually taken to court. We need to have an effective, working SHA system. And that's what we are looking for. And it's one of the agenda of the current regime. And therefore, they should not be swayed. In Kenya, some. Over the years, we have resisted change.
Yes.
Change is at times painful. So I want to urge the leadership, go on. Clean SHA, go on. Deal with fraudsters, go on. Deal with the corrupt individuals fairly, objectively. Let's see a working, and that is a working, functioning. That is what we are looking at.
You're asking the leadership to go ahead and do what they need to do. But where is the Social Health Authority in this? Because at the moment that you're paying a false claim or you're paying an inexistent facility, don't you bear some responsibility, really?
Actually, that's a very quick. That's what I'm trying to say. There's also an institutional role. There's a role for the CS. There's a role for SHA. There's a role for Kenya Medical Practitioners Board. There's a role for Parliament. What I'm trying to say is this. We do not want to be consumed by politics of the day.
Yeah.
My take as an individual, as a leader, we need an effective, working healthcare system. And that's one of the things that the president and this government promised. That must be achieved. If there are individuals who are helping in stopping this, they must be dealt with in accordance with the law. That's my take on this. Avoid public lynching, because criminal responsibility is individual. Avoid that collective condemnation. It's not allowed, because it's like, but go on, deal with this. That's my take.
And to the question I asked Mheshimiwa Madenga here, because you just spoke about the circular from the PPRA to procuring entities that they must use e-procurement. And you're saying that it cannot fly if it's not law approved by Parliament. The law that Parliament has approved, including the regulations, unless I am mistaken, I do not see KMPDC anywhere as the entity that should be the one helping SHA or telling SHA that these are credible. Yes, they have a role to regulate, to register, and also to regulate the practice of medicine in the country. But then what law tells SHA that pass on the responsibility of ensuring hospitals exist to KMPDC? And is KMPDC even facilitated to do that?
I think my colleague here is very familiar by fact that he's a member of the health committee. But what I was trying to say is this. There is a distinctive institutional role. SHA authority has a mandate under the law. Ministry of Health has obligations under the law. KBDF, Kenya Medical Practitioners Board, has certain expectations under the law. Let these individuals, let these institutions follow the law to the letter and execute their mandate in accordance with the law.
Okay.
That's the bit I'm trying to say. And there should be no room for these individuals, actually, to curtail this. Kenyans must get a working healthcare system. That is what we ought to have had in 1963, immediately when we got independence. It has come too late, too costly, and right now, no politics on this. Deal with the cartels decisively on the healthcare system. That's my take as an individual.
Let's listen to what some members of parliament have been saying about this particular matter, because Aden Kenan says that it should not be politicized, but it's actually being by his colleagues. Watch.
Our demand for the immediate resignation of Honorable Aden Duale, the CS for Health, for number one, conflict of interest, number two, complacency. We have uncovered evidence of deep-rooted conflicts of interest. The government has now resorted to arbitrarily reject claims, punishing facilities that raise concerns about SHA.
Na hata wale wananipiga wananiambia mimi nijiuzulu, wengine wako na hospitali yao nimefunga. Mtu ana claim pesa ya kwamba mama amepasuliwa tumbo akatolewa mtoto mara 10 kwa mwezi moja. Watu wamekuwa matajiri wakikula pesa ya wagonjwa.
Huyu Duale, wakati mnatoka recess, muhakikishe mswada umeletwa, kwa sababu he must take political responsibility ya wizi ya pesa ya wananchi ambayo inafanyika pale kwenye SHA.
When you are throwing answers right, left and center, Duale, I want to remind you, as you play with your games, 156 children are being born every hour and can die.
Kwa sababu Ruto ameshinda kuwatoa, sisi tutamtolea watu. Hata kama mnaenda nyumbani, tunawaomba acha wa Kenya wakiwa hai.
Hakuna pesa yoyote inaweza potea hii Kenya kama rais ajui. Hakuna pesa yoyote inaweza potea kwa nyumba yako kama wewe ujui nani ameiba hiyo pesa. Ukweli uongo?
Mtu yoyote ambaye anachezea project ambayo inaweza kusaidia mwananchi wa kawaida, huyo sio mtu anafaa kukaa na wananchi wengine. Unajua kulikuwa na ukora mingi sana ilikuwa inafanyika katika ile ilikuwa inaitwa NHIF. Unapata mtu anafungua ka kliniki kama hapa Makindu na analipwa pesa mingi kushinda hata Makindu level 5 hospital hii yenu iko hapa.
Na mpende msipende, cartels wa SHA watashikwa wawekwe ndani. Cartels wa bunge watashikwa wawekwe ndani. Cartels wa magavana mumeona.
So there's that recitation that the cartels would be arrested and incarcerated. We'll wait to hear, because there have also been promises from the president on arrests, including of members of parliament for being corrupt. That was a promise a few weeks ago. But Mheshimiwa Madenga, you wanted to say something, and as you do that,
yes,
has your committee been briefed on how much money the Social Health Authority has been collecting? And do you know where we are, how the numbers are looking?
Sam, we do not know how the numbers are looking.
Why?
Because last week, on Tuesday, SHA and the Ministry of Health were supposed to appear before the committee for a second time on the issues of the flow of money within the system. Again, they gave the excuse that they do not yet have sufficient information.
About collections?
About the questions. We had raised a number of issues. One of them was the flow of the money within the SHA system.
And how did that sit with the committee?
It did not sit very well. We actually did instruct that the communication be made to the Ministry of Health and SHA that this is a matter of grave national importance. It has elicited a lot of public interest across the board. These discussions are happening in households and in the villages. And therefore, we did instruct that by next week, Tuesday, they have, without failure, to appear
next week or tomorrow.
Committee. Normally, when you have you are summoning or you are requesting an entity to appear before Parliament, the standing orders or the practice in Parliament has been to allow at least 7 days.
Okay.
And therefore, that communication has gone. However...
That's what I'm asking. When you said that next week on Tuesday, do you mean tomorrow or next week, actually?
No, we said next week.
Okay.
On account of the communication from the ministry that they had not yet been able to put together enough information to respond.
Right.
And that is why we said, in the meantime, we'll have a team in Nairobi tomorrow. We'll have a team on Wednesday in Nyeri and Laikipia. We'll have a team on Wednesday and Thursday in Homa Bay and in Western, and I think there is a team that will be going to Northeastern. That is based on the pattern of public feedback in terms of facilities that have not been found. But and as my colleague Adan says that people must be brought to book. The first suspension of facilities by SHA was on 8th of August 2025, 40 facilities. Then on the 26th, another 45. So in the intervening 3 weeks, what have they done about taking action in terms of forwarding the evidence available to the relevant authorities in EACC, DCI, Asset Recovery Authority, so that then we can see there is tangible action towards safeguarding public funds. Conflict of interest. And this is one of the most recent laws that we passed. And it says the object of the act is to prevent public officials from using their positions for public gain. And there is a requirement for recusal for from conflicted decisions. And therefore, when we find that the share of SHA, for example, was owning facilities, nothing wrong with that. But in the run-up to his ascension to the position, he let go of the facilities. Perfect. But when we go to audit the system, we find that the entities that acquired, or he acquired the facilities, are one of the top recipients of remittances from SHA. Then we ask ourselves, in the conflict of interest, there is the question of disclosure of real, apparent, all potential conflict. That is the law. On the basis of that, then, when we say justice has to be seen to be done, in those circumstances, are Kenyans wrong in questioning whether he is as clean as the wife of Caesar? As we find the CS.
You think he still has some influence?
That is what we would like the relevant authorities to go back and dig, because we find you have disposed your company to another company that is owned by another layer of companies. Doesn't that quickly raise the antennas of people?
What is the issue here? What is the issue with the facilities that the SHA chair previously owned?
There is the question of, one, you asked the question, where is SHA in all this? Why has the CS become the person who answers everything? Yet, we have a SHA Act, we have a SHA board, and SHA's management. That overreach is sufficient enough to cause people to ask, what is it that you are hiding? Why are the people with the mandate by law who should be speaking because they are the ones executing the actions? Why are they silent? Why are we having somebody else? Why has the CS become the face? And yes, I know on matters policy, it is his responsibility. On matters implementation, the body with the primary mandate must come out and speak and disclose.
Okay. You still haven't answered my question why the hospitals that the chair of SHA used to own.
I have given you I have given you the chronology. That they are acquired by a certain other company. That company is owned by several other people and companies. And therefore, there is need for us to have full disclosure on everybody. There's a question of beneficial ownership of companies. Okay? So that is the area we want cleared, so that when we see you in a position today, within the reality of the conflict of interest bill, we can say here, we can see that this person will be completely objective.
Is there a problem with the hospitals he previously owned? Have they gotten benefit that is questionable?
Among the issues raised by Kenyans is the payments to Radnan hospitals currently.
I see it's about 18 million shillings.
Sam, let me take you through the process. And that may answer the tiff between the PCS and the bishop. Cumulatively, since SHA operated, every facility, there is the amount that they have been paid. The issues currently are on the basis of the last payments in the month of August. And therefore, it is possible. Nyeri County Referral Hospital, for example, cumulatively has received 193 million. Cumulatively from when SHA started remitting. But in the month of August, Nyeri only received 1 million shillings, or about 1.9. So there is the...
No, it's 1.17.
Okay, so there is the amount that has raised the month, that has raised the current outcry, the remittances over the month of August, but cumulatively, they are the amounts that have been paid. And therefore, it is possible that the PCS was talking about the cumulative, while the good bishop was talking about the amount received this month.
August.
Yes.
Okay. I'll come back for more, because there's something you're saying but not saying. What is it?
No, okay. I think what I was trying to say is this. First of all, any public officer, state officer, before you make a pronouncement, you must be careful with the accuracy of your statement, because the Kenyan public has been actually subject to all sorts of statements that do not carry the weight of what is expected of a public officer or a state officer. And two, when certain decisions are made, either in suspending a facility or in condemning a particular group, that must also be evidence-based, evidence-oriented, evidence-centered. And, you know, these entities are not operating in isolation. I'm sure they're working in cahoots with the intelligence community, with other investigative agencies, with the oversight agencies, with the regulatory bodies. And therefore, once we make a statement, that statement must be taken to the next level. That is the only way, actually, the public can believe the accuracy of that particular statement. Otherwise, we'll be making statements. That statement is left there hanging. The next one is you have another phase of another public statement. You leave it. That creates a cloud of suspicion. My take as an individual, this is a critical sector. No politics, no hula blues. If they are, and I will say this, regardless of who is involved, and I want to see more visibility, actually more presence of the SHA community, the SHA leadership. They should be seen. They should be the face of this. So what I'm trying to say is this. You can see right now debate has been created for the Kenyan public. That is not what the Kenyan public requires. What the Kenyan public requires is a working, functioning, efficient health system, period. And any person who is in any way to be seen to be blocking towards the achievement of that must be dealt with, and I support this, I support the president on this, must be dealt with decisively, fairly, so that Kenyan public get services that they require under the Constitution. These are the politics of this has been done, this has been done. You can see right now, if you look at every bit, everybody's making a statement. We're not sure who is right. That can only be seen. Take them to court. Me, I'll be persuaded. Take them to court. Suspension is not enough. Naming them is not enough. If you have evidence to suspend a facility, take them to court, subject them to the rule of law, let them prove their innocence or otherwise. That is what will clearly demonstrate that we are a country of the rule of law. This other media passion, public lynching, has no place in the modern day Kenya.
Indeed. So I just wanted to clarify something on what Mheshimiwa Mthenge was saying. So Ladnan Hospital, according to the data from the Ministry of Health, in August received 18.6 million shillings. I believe this is the hospital in Pangani. There's another Ladnan Hospital in Wajir that received 266,000 shillings. You also make a case of Nyeri County Referral Hospital that got 1.179 million shillings in the month of August. But also there's a Nyahururu County Referral Hospital that got 25 million shillings in the same month.
And Nyahururu District Hospital.
Nyahururu, let me see. So Nyahururu County is 25. Nyahururu District Hospital is 150,000 shillings. When I look at Ladnan Hospital, it's a 50-bed facility located in Pangani. And the hospital has operating theatres, general wards, and of course 24-hour outpatient service. So I don't know whether that explains anything, but it's the facts as they are. We have no way of proving that there's any wrongdoing, and that would not be the position of Citizen TV up until there's credible information to show that. But Mheshimiwa...
Sam, let me clarify.
Yeah.
It is not a question of wrongdoing yet.
Yeah.
What I have said is complete investigations. Complete investigations. What we are working with is the data as provided by SHA.
Okay.
Okay? And therefore, Kenyans are right in questioning the data. But I want to clarify one thing, that Kenyans must know that when the claims are made individually, for Duncan Maina Madenge when he has sought services, and then cumulatively. Number two, from that, there is an initial check by the system, and then either the claim is cleared, the facility can be asked to provide additional documentation, which may not have been excluded. Yeah. The claim can be outrightly rejected, and the reasons provided. And then there is the claim journey from the time of lodging to the time of payment.
Okay.
And depending on how accurate you are in your documentation, the amounts will keep varying month on month. Every facility on the system can be able to tell the value of the claims that have been rejected and the reasons they are in. They can be able to tell the value of the claims that have been returned to them for them to provide additional documentation. Okay. They can be able to tell the value of claims that have been taken for clinical review, especially on matters surgery and main operations.
All right. Let's listen to the promise from the Cabinet Secretary, then hear from Mheshimiwa Mbui.
Monday saa 8 mimi ninapeleka over 180 files to the DCI. Washikwe ama wasishikwe? We will close your facility. We will recover our money that you stole from the people of Kenya.
Monday 2 p.m. today, in the next 6 hours or so, at the DCI, he said 180 files, if I had that correct. Mheshimiwa Mbui.
Yeah, you know, Sam, we said there was a problem in SHA from the beginning, and we really fought. Now I'm happy when I hear the President agreeing with us, the CS for Health agreeing with us, the Parliamentary Committee on Health agreeing with us, faith-based health facilities agreeing with us, and finally, of course, private individuals who actually exposed some of this rot. You know, when they posted that, you know, payments have been made to certain hospitals, private individuals actually did confirm that either they were non-existent or were not functional, like one that had overgrown grass, nobody had stepped in there for years. So basically, I think the system is being manipulated and Kenya is losing a lot of money. And this is happening also across, because you've seen the controller of budget, no, the Auditor General's report, I think, on e-Citizen. You know, there's a lot of money lost through e-Citizen. That's also a system that's manipulated. You saw the report about NEMIS, the previous system that was managing school registration, and the amount of money being paid to schools that didn't exist and to students that were not in the system. So basically, I think the system is being manipulated. I hope that is not why we are rushing an e-procurement one, so that we can also manipulate it. But some, I'm surprised. The President, the CS, these are the people in the executive with the instruments of power. When I hear them lament, like they're in the opposition like me, I am shocked, because they should use the power they have to do the right thing, not keep talking to us. For the CS to go to a rally and tell people, oh, I'm going to take files to, that's politics. He should just do it. Let him do it quietly. Let us see prosecutions taking place. The President promised some time back, oh, you know, Parliament, you know, National Assembly has got, you know, some corrupt individuals. In fact, he kind of blasted all of us. And he also said even in Senate, the Sokohuru, you know, governors are dishing out 150 million for whatever it is. And then he says, we are going to prosecute them. I'm still waiting. You know, for the executive should not be talking. They should be carrying out action. It is opposition that talks. William Samoei Ruto spoke for 5 years when he was a leader of opposition, when he was deputy of Uhuru Kenyatta. Now he should concentrate on getting things done. And I think it's possible, if any of these allegations are true, it is possible for people to be prosecuted. But some allow me to clarify something I said earlier. When I said that I would oppose the e-procurement process, it's not because I'm in the opposition. I just said when you do not give a fallback position on critical things, then I feel that would not be a good law. There always has to be a fallback. That's why I said retaining the manual as a fallback only in the event that, in the unfortunate event that systems will not work, then I think that would be what I would be supporting.
Okay, all right. And let me take a look at the feedback that has come to us at Citizen TV. Kenya Tsamgi took the start to use the Citizen Daybreak on what Kenyans are saying this morning in regards to the two key conversations about e-procurement and the SHA fraud. Samuel Worth is saying that all Kenyans should support the e-procurement platform launched by Treasury. It's the strongest control point to deal with corruption and pending bills. The governors have no basis to complain. The cabinet should remain firm on this. Who else? Leki Sean Laban, digital or manual. Procurement in Kenya needs human integrity. Corruption in public service, whether via e-citizen or manual systems, is a real pandemic. President Ruto must address it firmly through legal action, not just loud words at rallies. Sir Nixon Dugire, sadly, the very same thieves, looters, swindlers, cyber criminals and the like are all over and are very ready to invade e-procurement, bringing it to the same level as the physical system. How protected is this system? Good question. Talai Kilel, why is SHA's digital system a black box? We want full disclosure of code, data, policies, and who runs it. Tech without transparency is equal to digital dictatorship. Bob Otieno, SHA was just a name to hoodwink Kenyans with these emerging frauds and unfolding politics surrounding it. Your guess is as good as mine. NHIF system is still in operation under it. And Peter Gesura, the government must ensure that SHA works, that the cartels should be arrested and face the full force of the law. Well, don't you think cartels is just a word to really mask who exactly is doing this? If the system is working, then it should be possible to know who exactly is responsible for this, and I hope that action will be taken soon. So 2 p.m. is the promise by the Cabinet Secretary. We'll hold him to it and see what happens at the DCI and what information he will be giving to the authorities. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa Eden Kenan, Mheshimiwa Duncan Madenge, and Mheshimiwa Robert Mboi for making time for us. Up next is Sporty Monday. See you again some other time. Bye for now.